You guys are having fun while changing the world.
Sometimes.
Okay. And how successful are you? I mean, so far.
Changing the world?
Yeah, in terms of changing the world.
I think, basically it's... You want my personal answer? Different people answer different things. How about as successful as anyone can be throwing the tiny buckets at a raging inferno.
So it's not working out that well.
So
people get richer. People get richer.
So we have a culture we have a culture that has a death wish. We have a culture that wants to take its entire planet with it, and it seems very determined to go in that direction. And it really is not that interested in being put in any other direction.
You don't vote Democrat, right?
No.
No. Obviously, you don't vote Republican either.
No.
Right. You don't vote.
I don't vote.
Because you don't believe in any political system. You believe in anarchy. It's just. No social structure, maybe little social structure.
I'm for more social structure. I'm not against social structure at all.
So is it going to be? Are going to be people?
Anarchy is.
But do you think that there'll be people who'll be more equal than others? Do you believe in that?
That there will be people who'll be more equal.
More equal than others.
I think that the critique of people. I mean that.
I don't agree with that.
Orwell was applying that concept specifically to Marxist bureaucracy. It doesn't really translate to anarchism. I think in a society of bureaucratic equality, like the one that Orwell was critiquing, you don't have equality. I think in a society that is genuinely based on shared power and mutual accountability, it's a very different story.
But in your ideal society, everybody is going to be equal. So that's the goal.
It's very
equality of the unequals.
Say everybody's equal.
Well, in what sense do you mean equal? Equal opportunity?
You're saying equal. I
can
can tell my definition of equality is equal opportunities, not equal outcome. That's the fundamental difference between, let's say, so-called socialist communists and me, the capitalist. I'm a capitalist.
Okay, but capitalism isn't about equal opportunity.
Of course it is.
Really?
I'm the embodiment of that. I'm the embodiment of that.
Capitalism.
I came from so-called communism, read totalitarian regime. Right.
Let me test. With
$100.
Let me test you on this.
Yes.
If you are a capitalist and you believe in equal opportunity, then you should believe in 100% absorption of inheritance. There should be no inheritance if you believe in equal opportunity. Moreover, there should be socialized education. Because there's no equal opportunity.
It's an opportunity to have rich parents. It's an opportunity. I'd love to have rich parents.
But that's not equal.
Of course, it is equal.
That's not.
You can have.
He doesn't have rich parents.
But you have the same opportunity to have rich parents.
How if I'm not rich?
But you have this opportunity in Soviet Union.
People have more opportunities. That's just fact. They can get into better schools.
But you can be rich. You have this opportunity too. You can become a billionaire.
No, but you're not getting it. If you're born into poverty, you're going to have less chances of making it than somebody who's born in a fancy
But in USSR, these chances exactly what?
Of what?
Zero.
Of what? Of becoming
Zero.
rich?
Of becoming rich, of having rich
No one
parents.
should be rich. I'm glad that no one's rich.
Really?
Wealth inequality creates democratic inequality.
So
I do
what's
not want anyone to be rich. I think richness is a very bad thing.
So what's the definition of richness then? I mean, you wear sneakers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you wear jeans. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Jeans are an attainable luxury in the USSR. Unattainable luxury in the USSR. So where's the cutoff? I mean, there are people today in Africa who literally are dying from hunger. I mean, literally. It's not a hyperbole. I mean, they literally die from hunger. In North Korea, they actually eat other people. That's how bad it is.
They don't eat other people.
They do eat other people. That's how bad it is. They ate other people in Ukraine. You know that, right?
But you know, this is all. I mean, this is all.
You don't think they ate other people in Ukraine?
I mean, this is.
You don't.
This is all very interesting, but it's avoiding a pretty significant fact.
No. We're talking about equality.
1% of the population controls 40% of the wealth. That is rich.
1%. 1% in New York City, especially. Do you know what percentage pays all the city expenses?
Yes.
Even bigger than that. Mm-hmm. Not 40%. Meaning, when it comes to taxes, 1% does pay 40% of taxes, which is unfair as far as I'm concerned. Why should 1% pay 40%? But they're okay with it.
Because those 1% made their wealth by stealing from the working class. Because what taxation is doing is re-expropriating wealth that has been stolen from the working class by the profit system, which is a form of theft.
Are you working class? Would you consider yourself working class?
Would I consider myself working class?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd consider myself working class.
You-
I've had a lot of privilege in my life. I've had greater opportunity than others. So
So you're not working class.
I would consider myself in what I consider. Well, it's an interesting question. Me personally, I would say that I've had greater opportunity. I'll say this: I would say I've had greater opportunity than most people in the working class, and that is unfair.
So you're privileged,
Yes, I'm privileged. Absolutely.
and you're against that. You're against your own privilege.
I'm right. Absolutely.
How are you giving up your privileges then?
What's
I mean, how are you going to give up your privileges then?
How am I going to give up my privilege?
Right.
I'm going to work for a system where those privileges don't exist. I'm going to work for a system.
Do you want to go to North Korea then?
Do I want to go to North Korea?
Just
Not
maybe.
the system we want.
No.
Why would I want
Okay,
that?
but what are you
I'm
going to do?
against
Okay,
totalitarianism.
fine. So what we're going to do? I mean, you're privileged. We've just determined you're not working class.
As
You're
are
a
you.
privileged person.
As are you, and as is he, in different ways.
I am but I'm not fighting it. I'm enjoying it. I'm wholeheartedly embracing it.
And
Well, that's the problem. Your privilege is based
Well, it's
on
not-
inequality.
I
Inequality.
came
I mean,
to
There are
this.
7 billion people.
I am.
This is Vladimir.
This is Vladimir. That's exactly right.
Vladimir.
I
Yes,
came to
that's
this country.
Vladimir.
How do you know me?
came to this-
Because I've watched your video.
Oh, you did. High five.
No.
No.
You came to this country as a white man. You came to this country with a great deal of privilege.
What do you think about Clarence Thomas?
What do I think about Clarence Thomas?
Yes.
What do you mean? Well, I don't know. What do I think? I think he's a bad man. Do you want to get more specific than that? I mean, what's your question about Clarence?
My question is, it's a phenomenal biography of a black man. What do you think about Barack Obama? Even Barack Obama,
What do I
for
think
that
about?
matter.
What do I think? You're really.
What do you think about Condoleezza Rice?
What do I think about them?
Yeah.
I think that it. I
what do you
it
think
is-
about
I
the
think it is
heights
very-
they have achieved?
I think it is very.
We're on the same
There was
page,
a
right?
criticism-
You want an
no,
answer?
No.
But there was a criticism of you that that I saw about how you kind of were against bailouts, but at the same time you were defending Bush. So Bush bailed out corporations, but you were defending Bush.
I am defending
Yes,
Bush,
you
but
were
it
defending Bush,
but it
He
doesn't.
bailed out corporations. He committed socialism. right
It
there.
doesn't mean that I agree with them 100%. See, this is the difference between
I
most.
saw an anti-Michael Savage blog piece, a pro-Michael Savage blog piece, critical of you.
That's okay, because supporting Bush doesn't necessarily mean supporting every single thing that he has done. Just like when it comes to the Republican Party, I'm not wholeheartedly.
Let me ask you a question. You said
Sure.
you're Jewish.
Yes, I'm Jewish.
You know what a capo is? You know what a capo is in the concentration
Ukraine,
camps?
of course,
No,
yeah.
in the concentration camps. Do you know what a capo is?
I know very well who the capo is.
Do you think because the capos were treated well that it meant the Jews in the concentration camps were treated well? Were the Jews in the concentration camps treated well? By and large.
This is what's happening when it comes to capos. When we talk about the Jews, which was selected by the Nazis to sort of self-govern what was happening inside the concentration camp, it was sort of a lesser of two evils. In fact, they did help some Jews to organize what was happening over there in whatever horrendous situation they were in. Guess what? My grandmother was the Auschwitz survivor. So if you want to talk about the concentration camps, that's in my family.
Same here. My great-grandmother was not a survivor.
She fortunately she was, because she was born in Hungary. Just my step-grandmother.
Right.
And Hungarians were shipped to Auschwitz at the end of the war. So she was lucky enough, she was working in the kitchen, and she survived, and she helped her sister survive. So fortunately it's kind of a little happy story in the overall totally unhappy, horrendous
My
thing that was
point
happening
is,
over there.
As you and I both know, the capos had privileges that other people didn't.
So
And
I am
many
for
of them-
privileges. There's nothing wrong with that.
But here's my point.
Yes.
The better conditions of the capos,
Uh-huh.
who in many cases betrayed people horribly in order to obtain those conditions, does not imply that can be systemically extended.
Okay.
You cannot. The people who are going to go into the gas chambers could never be capos. Not everyone can be a capo. The system is designed to incentivize certain people betraying their own. That is what Barack Obama is. That is what Clarence Thomas is. So that's your answer to your question.
There's
There's not equal opportunity. There's an opportunity for a very small number to be traitors to their people.
when we talk about, let's say, human nature, and I'm sure you're going there. You want to talk about human nature.
I'm really going there. Okay.
When I was reading, because that's collectivism is all about human nature. When you talk about collectivism,
Well, I'm not
it's
talking about
voluntary.
collectivism. See, I find it very funny because the
But
right.
you use this word.
I never used the word collectivism. I'm a communist. I'm not a collectivist.
Watch this video.
I'm not. See,
mark the
hold
minute
on.
when they use the word collectivism.
I said
when
collectives.
it comes to
I said collectives, not collectivism. They're two very different concepts.
Okay, collective, fine.
I may have said
fine. Okay,
I think I
collective.
said communism actually.
Okay, collective, fine.
I don't
okay.
know that I use the word collective.
Okay. Collective.
Hold on.
I correct myself.
Hold
collective,
on,
fine.
Because the Koch brothers do this. All you right-wingers love talking about collectivism. But here's the funny thing. None of you know what the word means.
Yes, I do.
Collectivism does not mean communism. The collectivists and the communists were fierce enemies.
I know all about it. Listen, I live there. I had to study it, whether I liked it or not, because I had to pass exams. But here's something that I wanted to say.
I mean, you're familiar with the theoretical differences between Bakunin and Kropotkin? Bakunin was a collectivist. Kropotkin is not. I am ideologically aligned with Kropotkin. Not
we
Bakunin.
had to study all of this stuff because all of them were blamed as anti-Soviets. Obviously, obviously in the eyes of the true Stalinist, communist, wherever we call them, totalitarians, all of them were eventually executed.
Well,
I mean, not all of them.
Kropotkin
One of them died
Bakunin
before
were
that,
executed.
right?
There.
But Bakunin was executed. So,
but
the thing is, in the Soviet Union, that system, you didn't have to do anything to be executed. I mean, literally, you didn't have to do anything. Just by dint of living in the USSR,
Right.
you might become an enemy of the people, just like that,
well,
in an instant.
Depends on under which government.
Doesn't
but-
I mean, in the USSR, I'm talking about
Well, I
the
mean,
USSR
under
from
which government in
1917.
the USSR? There are different time periods and different levels of repression.
Well, let's
were-
say Stalinist
Right,
period.
but I mean, but there,
Later on, it was a little
de-Stalinization,
different.
you didn't have people being wiped out like nothing.
Not that much. Let me put it
Gorbachev
this
was
way.
not randomly sending people to the gulag.
But they
not
had
that
spent.
not that he didn't commit
but-
atrocities, he certainly did. But
Yeah, but it took 70 years, 70, 3 generations of governance over there to wipe out tens of millions of people
Yeah.
until we reach Gorbachev. I mean, think about it.
Right, but I mean,
70
but we're in full
years.
agreement. I share your horror at the Soviet system.
Okay, but you.
I mean, as you said, the people who I'm ideologically aligned with were considered enemies of the state. I would have been murdered.
But the antithesis to socialism is capitalism, and that's where we fundamentally disagree. I'm the right winger, as you called me. I mean, call me what I want.
I didn't call you anything. I don't know
You
you.
just said you're right wingers. I mean,
Okay.
you said that, right?
Touche. Okay, fair point. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
So, to me, the opposite of so-called communism, call it what you want, socialism, totalitarian
But
regime,
they're very
is
similar.
capitalism.
But they're very similar.
It's capitalism. There's nothing.
Oh, I would agree. I would agree that the opposite of communism is capitalism.
And it's something that does
Here's
work.
Here's what I would disagree.
Yes.
The Soviet Union was not communist.
No, of course not. I'm not saying that it
So
was.
I-
They used the
I
label
am-
of communism, yeah.
Right. So the Soviet Union is actually very much like capitalism. The
No,
Soviet,
nothing to do, nothing in common. I mean, we
Soviet
just started
Union
with
was a state capitalist system.
it's such a obscene thing to say, because when it comes to the definitions, we just talked about it, before. The definition, and you're correct when defining the definition, fundamental definition of capitalism. I mean, two words: private property and profit. Both of them in USSR were totally against the law.
The new economic program didn't have private.
Well, but you're talking about new economic policy that started, in 1922, it lasted till 1929, and that's the period of time when Lenin realized that, oh, wait a minute, actually my so-called communism isn't working. So actually people started eating each other and killing each other. So when the new economic policy was he retreated to new economic policy. He allowed capitalism in otherwise so-called socialist totalitarian red terror. That's what he called it, red terror regime. And guess what? Things started moving in the right direction. And then 1929, it was abolished, and that was it. So, and it was under Stalin, and Stalin was from 1924 till he died in 1923. So from 1929 to 1953, no profit.
Well, there's
No,
a specific
no.
reason for that. Because before they used to just take the peasants' food and not just give a fuck
Stalin?
about it. No, it was under Lenin too when they used to take the grain acquisition. It was only when he allowed them to produce and sell would allow them to make their own surplus.
New economic policy.
Exactly.
And it worked.
But allowed freedom.
And it worked.
That's the fundamental of it.
Fundamental.
In the Soviet system, there was no freedom.
There was no freedom.
There was no freedom, which is why we are not Marxists.
And there's no capitalism. So when you say that the Stalinist system was state capitalism, I mean, to me, it's obscene. There's no state capitalism.
The bureaucracy
It's not
better
capitalism.
than the
I mean,
people that
again,
they were living over.
capitalism.
So that means they derive profit, and if the people did not own
There's
the means of production and the bureaucracy did, that means there is alienation in labor. So those are two essential features of capitalism: alienation and surplus.
Let's speak simple words.
Okay.
Use simple words. Profit, capitalism. Legal in USSR? No.
Legally, but what the bureaucracy actually
No.
is different.
No.
They can
No.
be legal.
No. What are you
They
talking
still
about?
live better. That means they derive more profit.
Private ownership, capitalism. Legal in USSR? No.
But this is why we call it state capitalism.
There's no
The
capitalism.
state owned everything. There
But
is
it's not
ownership,
capitalism. So
it's
call it.
private.
Then call it totalitarian regime. There's no capitalism.
I really don't care what you call it. I don't support it. I don't
Okay, then if
support the
words have
Soviet
no
Union.
meaning, well, then how can you talk about anything when words have no meaning? Capitalism, by definition. This is what
Yeah,
capitalism
but the
is.
problem is you don't want to accept that capitalism relies on the extraction of surplus value from the workers who work for the capitalists who hire them.
Yeah, hold on one sec. My battery is almost dead. Give me 1 sec. Let me change the battery. Okay, there you go.
What?
I got the power back. The battery.
We can.
So you want to give the
discuss-
parting words? So what are your parting words?
My parting words are: I'm tired, and capitalism is a system based on total abrogation of individual freedoms, and on the totalitarian control of the private owner and the ruling class. It's a system based on aggregating wealth in the hands of the few, expropriating the commons, and limiting freedom. Right libertarianism is a total contradiction in terms because private property is an abrogation of freedom. And moreover, private control of wealth and the absence of democracy in work is the exact opposite of freedom. The right-wingers don't love freedom; they love profit. All that the right has done is falsely appropriated the rhetoric of individualist anarchists and used it in a completely intellectually dishonest way.
Do you work?
What's that?
Do you work?
I work every day of my life.
Well,
Anyway, we need to pack up.
All right. So you know where to find this video, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, you know my channel. All right, see ya, guys.
No, I'm not trying to cut the conversation. He
I
just
know.
needs to leave, and
Okay.
I need to tell him what we're going to do.
All right,
I'm
all
happy
right.
to have the conversation.
Okay, all right, see ya.
We'll see you at the next.
Next event. All right, one world.